Welcome to the MLMSuccess.com podcast, the show designed to return the network marketing industry to its roots of personal growth, leadership development, and wisdom of the ages success principles. We share with you real success stories from real people that we hope will inspire and encourage you personally and help you progress forward in your business and your life. We believe if you build people, people will build the business. Now here is your host, who has been called the number one mind in network marketing, the MLM Prophet, network marketing virtual mentor, and a host of other names that we will not mention because this is a family show. Frankly, he's just a small town guy that figured out that the real product in network marketing is people. Dale Calvert.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dale Calvert. I'd like to welcome you to this session of the MLMSuccess.com podcast. I appreciate you being with me. The title of this session is Your 5-Year Game Plan. Your 5-year game plan. Over the last 4, 5, 6 sessions or so, we've talked about the quality of our life is in direct proportion to the quality of questions that we ask ourselves and then answer them truthfully. The quality of our life is in direct proportion to the quality of questions that we ask ourselves and then answer them truthfully. One of the most important questions that was ever asked me as a very, very, very young man is, where are you going to be in 5 years if you continue doing what you're doing today? And the gentleman that was talking to me, he said, Dale, look at the people above you. Do they have what you want? He was talking about the managers at IBM and the techs. And I said, no, absolutely not. And he said, that's where you're going. So we're going to go a little bit different route today. At the time of this recording, it's hard to believe, but 2019 is winding down. We're in December of 2019. However, I don't care if you're listening to this session 5 years, 10 years from now. It's evergreen. Truth is truth. Wisdom is wisdom. And the quality of our life is in direct proportion to the quality of questions we ask ourselves and then answer them truthfully. So my question to you, no matter when you're listening to this, but I'm going to assume you're listening to it in December of 2019, knowing that many of you will be listening to it years later, is what do you want your life to look like from today and project out 5 years? 5 years. If you could design the perfect life for you, what would it look like in 5 years? What would that life look like 5 years from now? And that's a real important question. It's something I've always tried to ask myself. Very seldom does it work out exactly the way that I had intended. We all have times in our life when we have to learn to pivot and to shift and to change and to move it. You know, we come up on crossroads sometimes, and we have to choose the road less taken. But this is a real important question for you, and don't ignore it. It's an important question for me. It's a real important question for me. It's a real important question for you, because as I was asking myself that, I'm thinking about, okay, 2000, my gracious, 2000, we're 2020. 2020, it seemed like we just went through we just crossed over into 2000 and the world was supposed to melt back then. Remember that? Some of you do. But where do you want to be in 2025 is my question. What would your life look like in 2025 if you could design the perfect life? And unfortunately, fortunately, however you want to look at it, for me, I was thinking I wouldn't want it to change at all. And that's bad. That's never a good place to be. Success is living your life working towards worthy goals, working towards them. Once you achieve those goals, you're no longer a success, Dale, unless you have new goals. And it's kind of hard for me, and I'll just share this with you. But I probably had last week one of the best weeks, for sure, one of the best weeks of this year. We've had a lot of great weeks. I was talking to a friend earlier, and he said, "What did you do? Did you go to a seminar and sell $100,000 worth of stuff? Did you go speak at a seminar and have a 6-figure weekend?" And it's like, I said, you know what? I said, your whole focus on success, your whole focus is around finances and financial. And I said, you really need to get past that. So, and I honestly, a 6-figure weekend can't even come close to comparing the week I had. And so I'll just go back to Thanksgiving. We had Thanksgiving at Dawn's parents. Dawn planned everything and all the dishes, and her parents are really not able to do a whole lot. Aging parents, some of you know what I'm talking about, and they're not able to do what they used at one time were able to do. But she planned the whole thing with all of her sisters. She's got 5 sisters, and gobs of kids and grandkids and great grandkids, and we all met at Dawn's parents' house, and we just had a great time. Tori flew in from Nashville, so everybody was pretty much there, and it was great. It was a great, wonderful day. And then that night, Taylor and Tori and Dawn and I all went out. We usually go to a movie on Thanksgiving night, and we did. And saw Mr. Rogers, the Mr. Rogers movie. I don't necessarily recommend it, but it was a very thought-provoking movie. And, I never watched that show. I could watch it until he hung up his sweater in the closet, and that's about all I could take when I was a kid. I know some people loved it, and my brother loved it, but I never got into that show at all. But watching the movie, it was like he was programming kids in a very, very positive way. It gave me a lot of respect for that whole show and for him as a human being. It was based upon a true story. And, it's not like my top 10 list of movies that you have to see, but I think you would find it interesting, especially those of you that understand and feel strongly about programming and self-talk and how important it is, not just with ourselves, but as with the people around us, and especially the kids around us, and helping them create the right self-talk and saying the right things to themselves and developing confidence at a young age and so on and so forth. It was a very interesting movie. I would give it a 3.5 star, only because now if I'd watched the show as a kid, then, and I had the opportunity, but I just didn't, I would probably give it a 5 star. So anyway, then the next day I got up and I drove to Kentucky and drove right to my brother and my sister-in-law's home, and she was having Thanksgiving for my family. Dawn stayed here because this time of the year with our e-commerce businesses is crazy time of the year, and she had to help out with customer support and that type of thing. And just we get a lot of questions through our e-commerce businesses. And so she stayed here and was able to take care of that, and had some other projects that we were in the middle of that she took care of. Plus, Tori was going to be here a couple more days, so she got to spend more time with him, our son. So I went to my brother and sister-in-law's house. I met my middle daughter, Channing's boyfriend, for the first time. That's always interesting. We saw Kentucky that night, played and did phenomenal. My grandson, Jude Daniel, I had given him last month, the month before last, on his birthday, I gave him a really nice deluxe magic kit. And some of you know that I was a magician growing up. So I gave him this magic kit. And I told him, I said, Jude, when I come back for Christmas or Thanksgiving, whenever I'm back, I want you to do a show for me. And unlike most kids, this was the one I chose for him because he could go online and he had someone actually teaching him how to do the tricks. Showing him, here's the prop and here's the trick and here's how to perform it. And it's not like most magic kits and they give you a instruction booklet and it's, you might as well be reading a foreign language trying to understand what it's saying. So some of you know that I did magic when I was young, and he seemed to have an interest in it. He was always, Grampy, show me a magic trick constantly. So I bought him this magic kit, and I didn't know. But as I was driving into Kentucky, I get a text from my oldest daughter, Brittany, Jude's mom, and she said, prior to the dinner tonight, we would like to invite everyone to a magic show starring the great Judini. And Jude did a magic show before we all ate on Thanksgiving, and he did phenomenal. So proud of him. You could tell he really put in some perfect practice because he knows practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So I got to see Jude do his magic show, and he performed for everybody, and it was phenomenal. He had a little stage fright, which was good because he conquered that. And then the rest of the week was spent, we saw one University of Kentucky basketball game. I spent a lot of time with my parents, which I just cherished that time with them. My sister came over and brought her world famous salad, and one afternoon my mom and dad and her and I had a great lunch and just spent a lot of quality time. And a lot of you've heard me talk about Chapel over the years. Chapel's my granddaughter, and she's gone into a brand new high school this year. The largest high school in the state of Kentucky was recently built in Scott County. It's huge. They desperately needed a new high school. And she's in the 7th grade, but she's a basketball player, and she's playing up, and she started on the 9th grade team and actually dresses out for the JV of the high school. And got to play some in the high school games. But she was the only 7th grader on the court on either team. So I got to see her play 3 games. I got to see her play her first ever. She plays on the freshman team. She's a 7th grader, but I got to see her play her first freshman game, her first JV game, and then the first freshman game in the new gym in her new high school. And that was on Saturday before I left. And she played phenomenal. She's a freshman. She starts. So she's dealing with some dynamics. There's 9th graders sitting on the bench and they're thinking, why is this 7th grader starting? I should be starting, blah, blah, blah. So she's having to deal with a little bit of that. And I think about it, think about it when you were in the 7th grade and if you were playing on a 9th grade sports team, and there's going to be some negative around that with other kids. So I was able to talk to her a lot about that and just say, look, you deserve it. All you can do is treat them the very best that you can, focus on your team, be the best teammate you can be, and you get out on that court and you play like you can play. And so it was good. I was glad that I was there and to be able to experience that. But on Saturday, they won. They got better as the week went on, but they won on Saturday by, I think, 11 points. And the high point person, the girl on their team, had 6 points on Chapel's team. But Chapel had 14 points. She led the team in scoring. At the end of the first half, it was like the clock was running down. It was almost halftime. They're passing the ball around. They throw it to Chapel at the top of the key. She makes a beautiful move, goes up and swish, her first ever 3-point shot as a high school player. And I'll be honest, it brought me to tears. It really did. I mean, I told Dawn on the phone, I said, she'll forget that, but I never will. I never will be in there. The first 3-pointer that she shot, her first freshman game, her first JV game, the first game in her new gym at the high school she'll be going to for the next, 5 years or so. Like I said, she's a 7th grader. So I say all that, and I probably have lost a lot of you that listen to this podcast every week. Well, Dale, we don't care about this crap. That's all about you and your family. Why should I care? Why should you be even taking the time to tell me this? And I respect that. I understand that. But I know some of you understand where I'm coming from. What can replace that? What can replace a week like that? I mean, really? What amount of money could you give me to give up that week? I got to have dinner one night with, I told you that I met my middle daughter Channing's boyfriend, but I also drove to Louisville and had dinner with him so I could really get to know him a little bit better. It's a very productive time with family, with people that I sincerely love and care about dearly. I got to see them all, spend quality time, and watch my granddaughter at the start of something that, if she keeps improving, is going to be quite a story. Quite a story. And I got to be there. How can you put a dollar value on something like that? So when I ask myself, Dale, where do you want your life to look like, in 5 years? Where you want to be in 5 years? And when I say, I want it to be just like it is right now, that's not a good place for me to be or for anybody to be, because again, success is living your life working towards worthy goals. And then I said, well, Dale, because you've walked this path for so many years is why you were able to go to Kentucky for a week and enjoy that time and take in those moments. And that would be true. That's true. But that is true, but it doesn't matter, because that doesn't matter. Yes, I'm very thankful, extremely thankful. But success is living your life working towards worthy goals. Once you reach those goals, you're no longer a success unless you set new ones. And see, I got trapped in that mode for over 15 years, just floating. And when I started this podcast, I decided that I want to spend as much time, energy, and effort I can trying to support entrepreneurs and network marketers and team builders and really do the very best I can to share what I've learned and gone through and the mistakes I've made over the years and what I've learned. And I'm going to do the very best I can to the very best of my ability for as long as I can. So I'm going to continue in that process, but I've got to set some more goals. And the other thing is we have to stop sometimes and really ask ourselves, is the activities that I'm doing, am I doing them because I want to do them, or am I doing them because they'll help me reach my goals? That's an important question. That was an important question. I mean, one of the 7 key areas of life is family. family, the relationships that you have with your family. So obviously last week helped me with my family relationships. And again, there's 7 key areas of life, and family is one of those. So that was good. Not all goals are business or financial. And as a matter of fact, most aren't. There's, if you look at the 7 key areas of life, career and financial, career is one and financial is one. But, there's other areas of life, physical, spiritual, family. I'm not going to go through them all now, but some of you heard me talk about the wheel of life. But the thing I would like for you to just ask yourself this week, because again, the quality of our life is in direct proportion to the quality of questions that we ask ourselves and then answer them truthfully. What do you want your life to look like in 5 years? 2020 is here. If you look back on 2025, if it could be perfect for you, what would it look like? And work towards it. Work towards it. But Dale, I don't have this, I don't have that. And then get it. Get what you need. Napoleon Hill told us, what the mind can conceive and believe, we can achieve. If we can conceive it and believe it, we can achieve it. And the believing it part is the rub. It sincerely is. But you couldn't conceive it if you couldn't achieve it. The belief is in the middle, and that's what gets us messed up sometimes. But what the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But my point, and the thing I want you to think about, is you couldn't even think about accomplishing it if it wasn't possible. The example I like to use a lot is, I could desperately want to be able to dunk the basketball like Michael Jordan, but you know what? It wasn't going to happen for Dale Calvert. It wasn't going to happen. I could want it as, I want it, but it wasn't going to happen. And we see a lot of people, you do, I do, that they have these visions of grandeur, but there's absolutely no way that it's going to happen. Not because I think it won't, because it really doesn't matter what I think, but because there's facts around the circumstances that dictate that, you know what, there's no way that's going to happen. There's just no way. So whatever our dreams are, whatever our goals are, whatever our desires are, it needs to be based around what do we really want? How do we really want our life to be? How do we want it to play out? Because if it's true and not some, delusional pie in the sky, if it's true, then what the mind can conceive and believe, you can achieve. And see, whatever you can conceive and believe for your next 12 months, and you diligently work towards that daily, and you do what's necessary on a daily basis. Successful people are willing to do for a short period of time what most people aren't willing to do, so they can do for the rest of their life what most people can't do. Successful people are willing to do for a short period of time what most people are not willing to do, so they can do for the rest of their life what most people can't do. And are you willing to grind for a period of time? And a lot of people tell me, Dale, why do you work so hard? You got all these different projects going on, and you got we have so much going on that we don't even talk about on this podcast, because it's totally unrelated. But, I'm trying to buy a business now, because if I can get it bought, then I believe in 2 years I can sell it and make 3 times my money. So we do a lot of things and enjoy it and work with a lot of different people. But it's not about me, it's about you. It's really about you, and it's about the quality of questions that you ask yourself. So, what do you want next year to look like for you? What do you want the next 5 years to look like? What steps do you need to take in order to make that a reality? Because you probably know what they are. You probably know what they are. And to me, it appears that we're in a world where people are constantly looking for the shortcuts, the foo-foo dust. They're just constantly looking for what's a shortcut instead of this understanding, this daily discipline compounded over time will ultimately produce the results that I'm looking for. And I understand when you're entering a market or a business or a niche that maybe you've never been involved in before, you've never had success with before, the doubts. I do. This past week, we've got a website business that we're building out, and it's different from what I was speaking of earlier, but a niche website that we're building out with the goal ultimately to build it out, and sell it. And this past week, I received my first commission from that site. We've been working on it. We have a couple of people that we work with, and we've been putting this together for a couple of months, maybe 3 months now. And we finally, we got our first commission. It has nothing to do with opportunity seekers or business, or it's totally unrelated topic. It has nothing to do with, what we normally talk about as far as mindsets or anything like that. But this is the first time I've been in this particular niche, and the first time we've ever really tried to build anything out. So there was a lot of apprehension about that. Is this really going to work? Is it really going to work? Is this what I really need to be doing? And we've invested a tremendous amount of time, energy, thought, and money starting this whole structure and building this out. And we received our first commission. Guess how much it was? $1.70. And how excited and fired up I got about that. You guys, it's not normal. But here's what I know. $1.70 can go to $17. And $17 can go to $170, which can go to $1,700, which can go to $17,000. And it goes to $17,000, and I've created about $250,000 asset that I can sell. Where does it start? It started with the $1.70. That's where everything starts. And people don't get fired up about the $1.70. The $1.70 is, I've said in network marketing, and I believe this, and I've said this for years, and I've watched it. $1,000 a month is much harder to achieve than $10,000 a month in network marketing, because if you do the right things the right way, sequentially, systematically, to get to 1,000, then 10,000 is guaranteed, because it is more of what you've already done. However, most of the people that get to $10,000 a month in network marketing, what they did to get there will never get them to 6 figures, to $100,000 a month in network marketing. This is important. If you build it right, and you get to $1,000 a month. And what does that mean, Dale? It means you're not doing it on your own personality and work ethic and contacts and credibility in the community. You're doing it based upon sequential, systematic development of team members and customer acquisition methods that can be duplicated and are based upon referral systems, everything that I've talked about for years. But if you do it right and you're building your business based upon sequential systems, then once you get to 1,000, 10,000 is almost guaranteed because you just continue to do what you've always done. Now, the rub in network marketing is most people get to 1,000, and what they're doing is the farthest thing in the world from sequential systematically. It's fly by the seat of your pants, and then if they happen to get to 10,000. Then the odds of them ever getting to 6 figures a month in this profession, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. I've had this conversation with way too many 6-figure earners in this profession. And they call me and it's like, Dale, I can't, I'm stuck. I can't get my team to move forward. I can't get my team to do this. I can't get my team to do that. And it's like you can bite the bullet and start refining everything you're doing, or you can just stay on the whirlpool, because you're not going to get where you want to go. What got you to this point will not take you where you want to go. It's impossible. And so, well, Dale, how do you look? I know what it's like to make $300,000 in commissions and overrides a month in network marketing. I know what it takes. I know what it takes to develop, over 200 6-figure earners on your personal team. It's like been there, done it, got the t-shirt 4 times. So, and I understand it's more difficult today than it's ever been for multiple reasons, most of which the industry has brought upon itself. So, just backing up, I'm asking you this week, this is a great time of the year to really think about where do I want to be in 12 months? And what do I need to do to make sure that happens? And focus on that and ignore everything else. Focus on the activities that will move your business forward. Stop watching cat videos. Stop wasting time if you really want it. But if you just love watching cat videos and network marketing is this little side gig hobby thing that you got going on, cool. That's cool. But that's not most of the people listening to this podcast. Most of the people that listen to this podcast are serious. They're serious. They have big goals. They're not going to cop out. They want to move forward. They're going to move forward. They've decided to move forward. They're being true to themselves and what they want and where they're going. And I appreciate that. And that's who I'm speaking to. If you happen to find this podcast, and just whatever, and just kind of searching through iTunes or whatever, look, we deal with realities. We get down to where the rubber hits the road. We're not trying to develop a following. We are, but our following, we want it to be, I love being able to determine and decide who I want my customers to be. I love that. And I'm not looking for the masses. I'm not, and I understand that. I'm looking for people that are really serious about making impact on the industry, on their family, and on future generations, and understand this vehicle and understand that, yes, it is beyond challenging, but it's worth it. Beyond challenging, but it's worth it. And I understand we have different people listening at different points and places in their life. I just look back and I think, when I started in this profession, it was absolutely the best option for me at the time. 20-year-old snot-nosed kid from a little town in Kentucky, population 400, stamping ground Kentucky. I had to get out of the corporate environment. It was going to drive me crazy. I had to do something else. And when you really understand that network marketing is about residual income, it's about lifestyle. It was the chance I had to get to, 6 figures a year. If I can get to 6 figures a year and no boss, how great would life be? And again, what the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. And I believe that it was possible for me. And once you get there, then you can see larger, you can see bigger. Your mind expands, your vision of what's possible for you expands. And the place that you never want to be, is, I just love things the way they are. I'm all about, as Jim Rohn said, you learn to be thankful. Thankfulness, there's nothing better than being thankful. But you need to learn to combine thankfulness with ambition. Thankfulness with ambition. Because success is living your life working towards worthy goals. Excuse me. So, where do you want to be in 5 years? Really, where do you want to be? Design the perfect life for you. What's it going to look like in 5 years? Work towards that, guys. What do you need to learn? What do you need to get hired out? What needs to happen for that lifestyle to become a reality for you? For that life to become a reality for you. And some of you think, Dale, I love my life right now. Hey, I'm with you. But don't cheat yourself. Don't cheat those around you. Don't cheat your community. Don't cheat the network marketing profession. Become the best you can be. Become the best you can be. I was doing an interview yesterday. A kid was doing a college paper on leadership, and he contacted me. I know his dad real well. And he was asking me questions. He had to write this term paper for college. And he was all about leadership, and he said, what's the biggest mistake a leader can make? And I said, stop leading and start coasting. When you stop leading and start coasting. And I know there's some of you that listen to this podcast every week. I'm talking to you directly. That you're in coast mode. You're in coast mode. Helen Keller said hell starts when the person you are meets the person you could have become. You're in coast mode. And see, the whole entrepreneurial world tells us that we're all working so we can get to a point of being in coast mode. And I bought that hook, line, and sinker, so I coasted. But the older I become, the more I realize that's not what it's about. There's nobody that works as hard as Dawn and I do in our various businesses, but we love it. We enjoy it. And, we take the time to just do nothing. It's like when I came home Sunday, I said, I'm going to get there early. I know the Falcons are playing, and we're just going to chill and not do anything. We're taking off. When I get home, we're taking off for a day and a half, and we have. So you can do that. You can design your life if you're willing to not waste time on things that do not move your business forward. So where will you be in 5 years if you continue doing what you're doing today? Where will you be in 5 years if you continue approaching your life and your business as you have? And let's look at it one more way, and then I'm going to jump off here. Look at your life. Look at 5 years ago, 2015. Where were you? What were you doing? Who were you hanging out with? Where were you spending your time? Where were you getting your education from? What did your life look like 2015? What does it look like today? And for most people, it has not been a progression. For most people, there's not a lot of change. There's not a lot of difference. Not a lot of progression. There's areas in my life that I've got to get better at this year. But I'm not going to make the commitment until I'm willing to start and never stop. And so, Dale, I could never, make that kind of, well, you can pivot, but once you say, you know what, I'm going to get my family life right, or whatever it is, in those 7 key areas, then once you start down that path, you just continue down that path. Whatever that path is for you. Maybe it's your career, maybe it's financial, maybe it's spiritual, maybe it's physical, mental, whatever it is. You know what to do. Most people listen to this podcast, you know what to do to get better in whatever area you want to talk about. It's just having the discipline to be able to do it. And the real question that has to be identified is the pain of change. Is the pain of change worth the benefits of having success, your ideal success in whatever area of life we're talking about? Because most people don't embrace change. They feel change. They don't like to change. Change equals pain. I don't quite understand that, but I know that's the way most people process that. For me, it's just all an evolution. It's all flow. Getting in the flow, staying in the flow, and appreciating everything that you can around you every single day, and keeping your eyes open and always looking behind the curtain, so you really get a good understanding of where you are, where you're going. Will this take me where I want to go? And getting fired up with that $1.70 commission, because that's where everything has to start someplace. I never see failure as failure, only as a chance to refine my skills. Telling yourself the right stuff, guys, every single day. Here's what I'm going to do. I think what we're going to do for the next few podcasts is, I've done a lot of webinars in the last 5 years. We did them on Thursday nights, every Thursday for several years. Got a lot of information out there that we've never made available on podcast. And I'm going to ask Brandon, our podcast guy, to make some of those available through audio through this podcast. And it's going to be some of the most important, foundational, thought-provoking trainings that we've done that we've never really talked about. I'm going to make them available. Some of the webinars, the private webinars we've done, I think I'm going to make those available here the last half of the year, first part of next year, through this podcast, because I've got several decisions I need to make. There's a book that I should have written years ago that I haven't written, and it's like, do I really want to take that on? So I'm just trying to pull out business. I have a certain amount of time every week that we devote to network marketing distributors, team builders through podcasts and webinars and private events and private webinars and private calls and coaching calls. And we just got a lot going on. And I'm just trying to really put my time into the projects that make the most sense, and not let myself get in a coast mode, which is what I'm recommending for you as well as you go into 2020 and the next 5 years and design your life, because whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Also, I wanted to let you know, we'll put the link below this session, but we are now, people are registering for my Programming Your Mind for Success workshop. It's happening December. I don't have my calendar in front of me. Monday, I think it's December 30th. December 30th, 8 o'clock in the evening. It'll be about a 2-hour workshop. It's the most popular thing that I do. It's the most important thing, the training that I'll ever do, I believe. And anyway, I'll put the link if you want to go right to the registration page and get registered for that. I'll give it to you now, but it's kind of one of those, long, convoluted links. But it's Crowdcast, CROWD, CAST.io /lowercase e /programming your mind. But I'll put it right below in the notes for you guys if you want to get registered over there. I'm really excited about this year. I'm making some changes. We've added some content to the actual members area of the course over the years, and getting ready to add some new stuff. So just excited about that. I think it's the most important training that I can do for people. I really do. And hope you'll join us. Again, the link is right below the description. More importantly, ask yourself some really good questions this week. Ask yourself some good questions. If you continue to do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. And if that's cool, that's great. If you're happy with that, that's awesome. That's awesome. But continue to work towards worthy goals. Don't get in a coast mode, because you can be working hard and enjoying every minute of every day. If you love what you're doing, if you believe in what you're doing, if you're making impact and helping other people, then love what you're doing. Love what you're doing. And again, I understand network marketing can be one of the most frustrating business models in the world, because you're dealing with people, and people are fickle. And I get that. But that's the way it is. And, you can pivot if you need to pivot. Do whatever you need to do. It's up to you. What do you want things to look like in 5 years? What do you want things to look like in 5 years? What do you need to do over the next 12 months to get closer to that 5-year projection goal? Think about it, guys. It may be a while before I talk to you live like this for a while. I'm really trying to figure out what I'm doing from a time standpoint. I know I'm going to the rest of the year for sure, maybe into the first part of next year, share with you some real important trainings and concepts and ideas and principles that we've done over the last several years that have not really become podcast episodes. I want to make sure that they are, because I want to make sure that I have everything that I can refer people to on this podcast. I hope you and yours have a phenomenal, blessed Christmas. Enjoy every minute of it. Enjoy every second of it. Take it all in. Wherever you are, be there. Enjoy your holiday and decide that you will not be denied, that you can make the next 12 months the best 12 months of your life. Because you can. You can wake up every day. Live it to its fullest. I appreciate you more than you know. Look forward to being with you December 30th. Many of you, I know, have already registered for the Programming Your Mind workshop that will be on a Monday evening. Look forward to talking with you live again. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas, and we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you soon. Blessings.
If you haven't gone over to iTunes yet and rated and left this podcast a review, what are you waiting for? At Calvert Marketing Group, we want to spend our time on the projects that we know are providing the most value for our clients and customers. You leaving us a review and feedback on iTunes is something that helps us more than you realize. And more importantly, it helps others like you find us. So if you've not taken the time to rate this podcast, please go over to iTunes and do that for us now. It will only take a couple of minutes out of your busy schedule. Work harder on yourself than you do on your business, and we will be back next week with another inspiring success story, wisdom of the ages training, or answers to your questions.